All right, everyone. Welcome back to day 3 of Dudacon. This is session 2. We are talking about building the next generation of websites. And in this session, we are going to discover the latest in website design with workshop of Duda's Editor 2.0 and seeing how leading agencies and SaaS platforms are building high converting sites. Now, if you're watching and you're listening, you want to make more money. Your clients want to make more money. They all want to get more results from the websites that you're already selling, and that they want to use that money to go travel the world or raise a family or do whatever it is that they want to do. And design is a huge component of that. Today, Ron, who is the website product leader at Duda, and Anath, who is a UI design leader at Duda. And they have some exciting design things they're going to talk with us today. And I will give them a chance to go ahead and introduce themselves, and then we will get right into the content.
Yeah, so hi, Brad. Hi, guys. Uh, nice to be in this session. I'm Liwa. I'm a product leader at Duda. I'm responsible for the core product of Duda, the editor, as you can imagine, after what Ruan said. And I'm very excited to be here and to show you some cool stuff.
All right, thanks, Lyra. And Anath, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Do you hear me?
We do. We hear you loud and clear.
Amazing. So I'm Anat. I'm the UI design lead here in Duda. I'm building and designing template for 7 years now in the platform. So I'm kind of the expert of how to build efficient and fast and with great design.
Absolutely. And design is one of those things where it's always subjective, but people know what looks good when they see it. So I'm really excited on seeing what you think looks good and actually getting a overview of the platform itself, the new Editor 2.0, which Develomark, our agency, has been using a lot, and we love it. So I'm going to go ahead and have us get right into the slides of designing stunning websites that get results, because people often forget we have a website to get results. It's not there for just no reason. We have to have a performance goal behind it. So we're going to go ahead and put up the slides there, and then we can get through the actual content. So
Yeah,
I will let you guys go.
thank you. So share my slide as promised. Wait. So, uh, design stunning website. Why? Because in the end, this is what gives us the results, right? Our SMBs want people to leave a link, purchase, come to their site, see how amazing their company is, and it's a lot. The design have a big part in it. So, a quick question: what do all these have in common? Minimalism, bold photography, micro animations, mobile first design. I'm sure you all have the answer. They all part of today's most popular design trends. And as in fashion, and when it comes to food and sport, when we talk about design, we are talking about trends that are constantly changing. And we are in Buda committed to help you to stay ahead of it. And why? Because it's important. It's important to the conversion of the site. It's important because your SMB is it. And before I talk a little bit about how SMB thinks about design, I can share with you that also in Duda, we are keep trying to add the game. You can see here an example of old templates that we had and how we redesign it according to these latest trends. I'm talking about the the size of the font, the contrast between the text and the background, the sizes of the images. You see that in the header, we now have 3 columns that combine data, image, and text. So we also do all those things that we are going to talk about in our platform to give you the best templates using the latest trends. You can't hear me?
Liran, we can hear you a little bit, but you're breaking up just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm hearing myself twice.
Anat, do you want to go through the presentation?
I can do my my demo, but
Well, let's before we are talking about how much important is design for SMBs, and I really want to share with you some cool stuff that we are going to build based on Editor, on top of Editor 2.0 in the future. Anat will show you a short demo on how she is building cool stuff on Editor 2.0. That's Anat moves
Yeah.
to you and try to fix it.
Okay.
all right.
Thank you, Liran.
All right, so I'm going to start presenting. All right. Okay. Do you all see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. All right. So this is a site I have built on Figma. Okay. This is a site for a studio of like sport classes. So it's let's say that it's a website that is like kind of trendy with like bold fonts and colors. And it's a design that is like trendy right now and not complicated to reproduce now on Duda and very easy with Flex. So here is how we are going to start. So I just want to focus on, sorry, I'm going to show this again, these sections, okay? All right. So the beginning of my site is already built, and I'm going to start and add here an empty section, okay? In this empty section, I have columns. I can add columns. I can delete columns. I can add as many columns as I want and delete them. So for the first design that I want to do, I'm going to leave the 3 columns. I can also decide on the space between these columns if I want more or less space between them. So the first thing that I'm going to do to reproduce the design that I want, I'm going to start with my first column. So here I have a white background. Okay, and in this white background, I'm going to scroll down and start having a corner radius of 20 pixels. And I'm going to add a padding inside of my column just to create a little bit of spacing around my content. I'm going to add 3%. And I'm going to start adding some content inside. So first of all, I have an image. Okay, so my first image is this one. I can also add a little bit of round corners in there. And I can make this image a little bit smaller if I want. So I'm not restricted, and I can really like either keep proportion or create like the size that I want in this image. I'm going to add a title. All right. And I'm going to add a paragraph and a button. And lastly, a button. Okay. All right. Button will be secondary. And okay. So here I have the option of alignment. Okay, so I'm going to make on purpose this bigger just to show you. So for here, I have my content vertical aligned in the middle, but I could have my content vertical aligned on the top or on the bottom, or space between or space around. So I have these options now. I can also have my content aligned center, right or left. In this case, we're going to leave left, and I can also create space between my content. Okay. So, but the thing that I want to reproduce here, what we usually have in sections, if I start duplicating this one, I'm gonna just remove this column, and suddenly I have more text here. Let's copy this. Well, my button here is here, and the other button is below. And I want my buttons to be always aligned below. So for that, I can simply have and use inner, I can simply use inner columns. So I'm going to use that. I'm going just to add an inner column. And in this inner column, I'm going to drag and drop, move my picture, my title, and here my paragraph. And then I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to set a space between. So when I'll shrink my inner column, all the content will be aligned. It will create space between them. And then I'm going to the column level, and I'm going to say, don't set the vertical align to top, but set it to space between. This means that no matter what amount of content I have, my button will always be sticky in here. All right. So this is one first thing that I want to show you. I can definitely duplicate, but the design that I'm trying to reproduce here is a bit different. I want to show you how to do this. So this is a bit different. Why? Because we have content that is horizontal aligned, and we have this option. We can switch the column to be horizontal instead of vertical. Okay, but in here I just need to change some rules. So instead of having my image in here, I'm going to put this out. I'm going to add my button here inside. I'm going to move my image next to it. And here, I'm going to set everything to the top. I have the same, here I have the same question here, where I always want my button to be aligned to the bottom. So what do I do in this case? I can add another level of inner column in here. So I can just have an inner column in here and add here my title and my description. And inside of this inner column level, I can just make sure it's aligned with space between. And here, I can always go here to the tree of the layers and make sure that everything is aligned. I can either do that, or I can also say, I want to fix padding, I want to fix margin between them. I can also go and do something like this. So I have two options, the option of having vertical or horizontal. So this is what I want here. Once I'm happy with what I have, I'm just going to create, sorry, just a second. I'm just going to fix in here the paddings. All right. And then I'm going to move breakpoints just to make sure that it looks good on all breakpoints. So if I move to this breakpoint, I can already see that the design doesn't look good here. So I have two options. One option is to say, okay, I'm going to change the layout of my section to be like this. And can make this smaller. Okay. Or I can decide to leave it like that, but I'm going to change here the direction in my column. Yeah. All right. And I also can make my image look smaller. I can also fix some of the padding in here. All right. And if I'm happy with the design that I just did, I can move to mobile. Mobile is the same issue. So I'm gonna set to horizontal align, and gonna make sure everything is aligned in here. I'm just going to play a little bit with the spacings. I can also make the image look smaller, and maybe I'm gonna add more inner spacing in here. All right, so I did all the 3 breakpoints. Now I'm just going to duplicate. And simply change, replace the image, replace the text.
Enough. They want you to be their AI assistant for building future sites. And I've got to tell you from experience using the editor 1.0 religiously, this is extremely helpful. You showing us behind the scenes here. So many tips that I just want to call out that you just did that I don't think are possible with the first editor.
No.
Which, by the way, the way that we know that Anath is in the editor 2.0 is the crown. So that's how I know you're using the new version. But one of my biggest takeaways you just did is you fixed the breakpoints before duplicating the column, which is huge because we have problems with that all the time. So continue, please.
Yeah, this is really a tip. And also you saw that I have 2 sections of 2 columns. So I'm just going to copy and paste. So I really save a lot of time. And then here I'm going to set my spacing to 0. So I'm going to make sure that I have 4 here. I have 4 to be even. All right. And then I just need now to replace my image. So here I have this one and my text. I'm not going to do everything, but this is the idea. So when you go in preview and you switch breakpoints, everything looks fine.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Anath, thank you so much. I know you have a lot more to show us, but looking at what you just did with the columns and the automatic centering and the automatic alignments, the vertical, the horizontal, changing the breakpoints, I can already see a bunch of opportunity for agencies to deliver better design really to their existing clients. I'm curious about what's coming in the future, though. I'm sure there's a lot more that we can talk about with the Editor 2.0. I'm going to have Liran pick it back up and tell us a little bit about the different things that are coming in the future, in the exact near future.
Of course.
Yeah. And I'll try not to move a lot, and I hope you hear me well now. Maybe this is the future. So you saw this amazing editor, and it's not only an amazing editor that you can do a lot of things in and you have a lot of features. It's also like a really strong structure that we can build on, and we can, I want to say, make your dreams come true. So, for example, if we are talking about building more interactive sites, like animations, right? So we are going to add much more creative design tools. I'm talking about more parallax options and more hover effects, and to be able to link a column and a sections to a different elements. So we understand that animations have a big part of creating a site that is more convert. And now on Editor 2.0, we are not only have the option to link animation to different widgets, but we also have the able to link different animations to different, what we call building blocks, the column, the section, the inner column, the advanced grid. I don't think that I need to say anymore when the slides say mega menu, right? So as I said, now we have a strong structure. At what you can see in the video, you can see that we actually took the navigation widget, we linked it to a section, and now you have all the power that you have in a flex section linked into a mega menu, and it creates a link into the navigation widget, and it creates a real flexible mega menu. So if I want to change, for example, the background of one of the columns, I can just do it very, very easily. I don't need to learn another widget. I don't need to wait to do that, to add more design options. I just need to learn how sections, columns, inner columns work, and just use all the features, all the capabilities, all the design options that we are giving to control a beautiful mega menu. Another thing that we can do with our building blocks right now is to design to build what we call smart layout. So imagine a slider. Okay, today a lot of you asking from us to have the option to add one more image, or to control the alignment between the image and the text, or maybe you want 2 buttons, or maybe you want each slide to look different. Now, when we have Editor 2.0, and we have those strong building blocks, we have those columns and inner columns, we can add more power to those building blocks and allow you to create much more flexible elements, widgets like slider, like tabs, like accordion. Think what we will be able to do in the future with Contact Us, for example. But sometimes we want everything to look the same, right? We don't want to design features for you and then make you work double hard than you worked before. So this is where the repeater is coming. The repeater is actually a flex element that connects to a collection. And now I can create a slider where all the slides are actually one slide that repeats itself. So I can change the image, I can change the text, I can change the color. But if I want to add another button, if I want to add another image, or maybe to add another widget inside, it will duplicate itself automatically to all the slides. And I think that when we look at the future and we look at the combinations, first we can see all the amazing stuff that we can build now with Editor 2.0. So we work really hard just to allow you all the features that you love from the classic editor. But now we are starting to develop on top of it. Now we have the option to allow you so many cool stuff. But we are also, you see a combination between design flexibility, between convert sites, like with animations and stuff, and with thinking about you and the efficiency. So we understand that you want this option to duplicate stuff, to change everything at once in one click. And this is also something that leads us when we think about, the new features that we want to develop. So yeah, this is what Editor 2.0 allows us to do. You want to hear more? You want to see more from Anat, or you want to ask us something?
Thanks, Liren. I want to point a couple things out here that you just shared that the comments are clearly resonating with. First one that I want Anat to kind of answer, because I have had this confusion too in the past. Deborah Watkins, if we could put the comment up there, she said she's confused. Does she have to use Figma and Editor 2.0, or is it a standalone feature in Duda itself?
No, you don't have to use Figma. I personally use Figma because I design in Figma. I want to see the result of what I'm going to build. And then I start building, but you don't need Figma. You can directly build on the editor if that's what you are doing. And it's easier, by the way, because it allows you more design flexibility that you add in the classic editor, which is closer to Figma in some
Yes.
kind of way.
And our designers love that. And the
Yeah.
next comment I want to just give a quick thought on is Jared's comment. He put mega menu, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Is this a dream? And that's exactly how I feel about that feature, because working with local clients and as an agency that does SEO, a lot of the times you're adding a lot of web pages on their website. And they want to see all of those pages available in the menu because they offer so many different services. So I would imagine Jared's excited because his clients have a lot of pages on their website and they want it to be on there. Exactly. Like a plumber may want all of their services neatly available in a mega menu. So we're really excited about that. And the animations. We're really excited about the animations as an agency because our clients, they expect more from the websites we make and they just make them funner to play with. So I too am really excited about that as well. So Anaf, I'll kick it back over to you to go back into the design presentation. I was learning a lot as you were doing that, and so I can't wait to share this with my team.
Great. I'm really happy that it helps. So I'm going back to my site where we have built our sections. And now I'm going to jump to the last part where you have overlapping images. So, and to answer the question that someone asked earlier, so no, I don't really need it. I could have imagined it inside of the editor. So I just added an empty section, and then I'm going to set the background color to be this beige. And then I'm going to design firstly the part of the overlapping images. So here on my section, I want to make sure I have enough spacing. Just notice, like a small design tips, spacing, having padding in section is very important. You don't want your content to be too tight, and it's more readable. Then I have my spacing, and I'm going to add to my column here something called advanced grid. And in this advanced grid, I will add an image. So this time I want my image to keep proportion and to be 100%. So the advanced grid allow me to have elements and to place them very freely wherever I want. So I don't have the same alignment option exactly, but all of the elements are independent. So here I'm gonna take my image and I'm gonna make sure it's like aligned to the top. And on top of these images, I'm gonna add another images, and you'll see it's going on the top of it. So I just forgot something here. I wanna add round corners. Same for here, for the second image. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I keep proportion. All right, so I have two images, and as you can see, I can place my element wherever I want, which is not the case here. So my element here is not placeable wherever I want. I need to fix it from here. Why do I do that? I need to make sure that across the breakpoint, everything will look good and will fit like properly. So here, in this kind of design, I want to make something that is a bit out of the box. So I'm going to grab my, my little image here, and I'm going to overlap it in here. All right. This is for my first column. And then in my second column, I'm going to add a title. That will be H2, and a paragraph. And lastly, I'm going to add an accordion widget. Okay, so my accordion widget comes with the settings that I added in the theme, yeah? So I just need to design it to fit my design here. So I'm going to select here this. And I'm gonna fix a little things. I'm gonna change H3 to be H5, right? And then I'm gonna go to expansion icon, and I'm gonna set it to orange. Can make it a little bit bigger, and I'm gonna set the bottom border color to be orange as well. And then when I manage the accordion, I can start changing my content, decide if I do want an image or not. Here, I don't want an image and I don't need a button. Okay. So I can just delete that and maybe duplicate this and just change the content. And lastly, this one. All right. Okay. Once done, I'm going to move across the breakpoint. So I'm going to move to the tablet. As I can see in tablet, it looks weird. It looks weird because maybe the font is too big. Okay. And I can change that. I can go into H2 and make the font, the title smaller. And it won't impact the desktop. They have two different theme settings. But if I decide to leave it as is, because I want bolder font, because it's really trendy, I can decide just to make a different design in here that won't affect other breakpoint, which is different layout. So if I have this different layout, maybe this is really big. So I'm going to go and make small changes. So here my image, I'm going to make this image a little bit big, a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to take this. Maybe I want to put it here. All right. And then it looks much better. And maybe I also want the text to be on top of the image. I can just switch it with like clicking on the arrows here. So if I go back to the desktop, nothing has moved. And when I'm going to the tablet, it's clear and it's better. And then for the mobile, it's the same. I can just take the image, make the design that I want, maybe make this a little bit smaller, maybe have this above, and that's it. You're all set. So we have built this kind of landing page very fast. Without like only a few clicks and a few detailed arrangement on the breakpoint. And we have a very nice site, trendy, bold, and like we like.
Now, a couple questions for you that's coming from the audience, but also myself. R.Designs asks, and this is a great question because we've had a lot of conversations at our agency about breakpoints. Do you find it more efficient to design a page on desktop first, then move through the breakpoints, or work in sections?
What do you mean working? You mean sections per breakpoint?
That's what I.
Yeah. So I think definitely that it's better to work section per section to breakpoint. But if we have elements like I showed, that I'm going to share my screen again. If we have these kind of element, we're not going to wait for the entire section to be built, but maybe we want to go over the breakpoint before, just to make sure that we can just duplicate and then, replace image and text, and we're done. So it saves a lot of time. Yeah.
Now, when you mentioned the tablet breakpoint is different than the desktop, is the mobile different as well?
Yeah, definitely. So you have here in the theme, mostly for the font size, it's different. For the background color is different, and alignment, sizes, yeah.
So as you're adjusting the theme on the device screen you're seeing, that's adjusting it only for that breakpoint.
Yes, I mean if we're talking about the font size, not the font family or colors, but the font size, the button font size, and the background color of the page as well is different per breakpoint.
That's interesting. Now, one other question that Joseph had that I want to just really clarify here as well.
Yeah.
And really just kind of talk about it again, because you mentioned using the advanced grid. And just make sure that we clarify the differences between the advanced grid versus a normal column per se.
Okay. So here it's a great example of the difference. So what I have in my, maybe I'm gonna, it's just a bit bigger, so I'm gonna make this a bit smaller so you can really feel the difference, just for the example. So the difference between between the flex column and the advanced grid is that the column here, you're going to place your every element, text, or whatever widget is going to be aligned according to the content alignment of the column in here. Okay. Also, individually, you can do it per element, but it goes like all together. You also have the flexibility of having space between. It's much more structured. It's helping you create like something that is like more correct and won't confuse you across the breakpoint. And also you have the vertical alignment, which is something that we didn't had before. And that helps you also to place all of your content in a correct way, so it will look good on all the breakpoints when you move breakpoints. This is for the flex column, which is the regular column. Now, if you want go and do something more wild and have overlapping of elements, maybe text that overlap an image, which is also something that is possible, we can make an example here. I can take my text. I might change the color of the text. Yeah, it's possible as long as it's inside the advanced grid. So it needs to be used in, you have to think about it before, and it needs to be used like wisely and for like design that are a bit like different from the regular text and button and image.
And that's a really great point that you bring up too, because a significant amount of people in here were saying that you make it look really easy to do, as professionals often make things look. How do you start with when you make a page like this? I mean, I know you came up with the prototype in Figma, and now you've actually knew what to build right away when you got in here. So people thought you did it really quickly, but really you started with an idea. Walk us through a little bit how that idea turns into the actual Duda design.
So the idea from the beginning is having, obviously, and I assume that you have that with your clients, but having some kind of a brief of what is the business you're going to build a site for. What are the targets? Like, this is more of what you have to do before start building, but you have to have an idea of what you're going to build, obviously, whether it's a plumber or it's a fitness studio. And then once you have that, what I'm usually doing is I'm looking for inspiration. I'm just looking around and saying, okay, what kind of color I can use, what kind of fonts I can use. I want to make things look great and bold. And mostly, most important things that you need to have is good images. So I know that usually clients, they don't always deliver like the best images because they don't have it. So you can always propose them to have like images from Pexels. We have a library in Duda that allow to have a lot of images from free stock images. So this is also something you can propose, and having strong image like really make the site looks better. So yeah, and the reason why I use Figma is because obviously I'm a designer, but I could have started in Duda. That's the same. It's a platform where I can actually design. I have theme colors. I can already set my theme's color. If I'm not happy with that, I can change the color to be, I don't know, maybe blue, and then everything will be blue. It's something that is really useful.
Yeah, I love that. And that's kind of the concept of wireframing too, is you want to think about what the goal is and then get into the work.
Yes.
Somebody would never do an addition on your home without doing a blueprint first, right? And so I love your approach on that. Liran, this is more of a question for you. It's a good question that Deborah asked. And I would agree wholeheartedly, and I haven't really thought about this until just now. The editor loads extremely fast. Do you think that the Duda 2.0 is going to be just as fast?
It's just as fast. Yeah, you can see how she moved between breakpoint really fast. You see how it's actually, she's showing you in real time how the editor is acting. And if you will try it, if Deborah will try it, she will feel it as well. As I said, we like build a new structure. We, removed a lot of old code. We use new technologies. The performance of the new editor, it's very important to say, is much better. Core Vitals, Lighthouse Core. We really tried to build a strong foundation for all the features that allow you to design better, but much more like great experience for you, to make it much more easier for you, and to have like sites that are much better performed for all this code that I just mentioned. So yeah, it will be fast for you as well.
Yeah, we like speed.
Promise.
We like
Yeah,
speed.
I know. I know.
And so, Liran, another question for you is, I think one of the slides that caught a lot of people's attention was the animation slide. And I was looking at the way that they're working right now, and somebody did ask a question about how exactly that's going to be executed in the editor itself.
So it's actually, we are going to allow you to pick the elements that you want and to pick the animations that you want. For example, we are just going to release in the next few weeks pinned and fixed animation. So, so you are able very easily to choose each element that you want, each flex element that you want, and to decide how this element will work. As I said, it's not only that you can do it on widgets right now, or you can do it in all the flex elements that Anat just showed, and you can do it in mobile as well. So I think it's like a very big advantage that we are releasing, but it's not going to be like it's no code. You will be able to do it very easily from the design panel to pick the relevant element that you want to animate, and then just to choose the animations that you want.
That's awesome. Yeah, making it easy is always better.
Yeah,
Now,
I think
go ahead,
we
Liran.
didn't. I think that I mentioned it before, but it's very important for us to deliver those design flexibilities, but not in a cost of ease of use and time. So when I talk about efficiency, I'm talking also about ease of use, because you're asking for so many features, and it's amazing. We want to deliver them all, but I can go and develop something that will take you like an hour just to use. But we really think about how it will be, what is the easiest way to deliver it to you, and not only deliver more and more and more features. It's one of the important things for us.
Yeah, and I don't know if the Duda community agrees with this. I have been seeing this, and then Anath, I have a fresh question for you. I've been noticing that when I log into the editor, more and more I'm seeing new updates. And I think the key ones that you've mentioned that clearly tells me as an agency you're listening is the mega menu. I think that was a huge idea. The animations, and then the advanced grid that I just witnessed. I didn't know that was the difference of the advanced grid, and that's exactly what my question is. So LMask 1987 asks, and Anath, you did this, but my question is kind of a spin-off of it. It's, can you overlay a text block over an image in Editor 2.0, which you did, without going into the CSS and defining a Z index value? What are things that you can't overlay, and what are things you can overlay with the advanced grid?
The things that I can't overlay? I don't think I can't overlay anything, but let me show you. I think that, let's say that, okay, maybe I have an example here. Let's say that you want to overlay here a block of text, okay? So let's just copy this, copy the entire section here, duplicate it, and I'm going to drag and drop it in here. And I'm going to set the background to white and add a little bit of margin, of padding, sorry. Okay. So as you can see here, I overlapped a flex box. Oops. Sorry. So here I overlapped a flex box. I didn't start adding a text alone, and then meaning that I'm overlapping this, yeah? Okay. All right. Great. If now I have started to take the text and then take the paragraph and then take the button alone without this, okay? It would have been a bit difficult to start like designing that because nothing is aligned exactly like I want. See? So in order to do that, it's better to use it's better to use a flex box because then I have to align it like that. And if I move breakpoint, everything can break. So if I want to reproduce something like this, maybe I would have used an advanced grid with an image. And here I would have placed all the text and the button inside of an inner column. And then I would be able to overlap it. So it's also, we have to be very careful of like the way we build it in order to save time. I mean, it's doable, yes, but it takes more time. So these kind of things are, I hope I answered the question, but these kind of things are like a very important to be like we have to be aware of that. And you can also move forward and backward what you overlap.
The position.
The positions, yes.
And that's really, really cool. Now, a question that I have is, with the different breakpoints, does that give you control of when the user, let's say, breaks down the desktop size to mobile to allow the elements to change while doing that?
Well, the flex column allow you to have like a more structure across the breakpoint, and then if the users start changing or adding stuff, it won't break your design. And this is why we came up also with this flex column. Also, it's easier, and for me, it's much better than go and right click and align element per element. But if my user wants something else in here, I don't know, maybe the user wants, I don't know, an image. Okay. And the image will be smaller. Okay, well, my image will be aligned with everything. I'm good. Yeah.
And I love how easily scalable it is, like how you just made it into a rectangle really fast from one image with like a drag and drop feature. Now, a question that Jared has is, there's a bit of a learning curve with 2.0. Are there any tips that you have where somebody could maybe, let's say, spend some time on the weekend when they're not busy working with clients? Maybe they are busy working with clients. I know I am. That they could actually use to actually get really good at Editor 2.0?
Like classes, you mean?
Any tips that you would have? Like, how did you get so good at it? Because I think what they're trying to say is
okay, how do I train, you mean?
Yeah, like how did you get so good at this?
It's been 7 years. It's more of like, because I build all the time on the editor, so I'm getting used to it very fast. But I would say the more you build, the more you get an expert. But I would compare it to, without no offense to anyone, but when you move from like Android to an iPhone, or from a PC to a MacBook, it takes a bit of transition. But at the end, you can feel that it's maybe more user-friendly or easier to use than what you had before. So I would go and say, okay, maybe I'll try to just take one of my client sites and build it on Flex, and I will train, I will learn on the way. That's for sure.
So actual application.
I think we also, Ron, we also released a new course for classic users that wants to move to Editor 2.0 that I think that helps with understand the basic behavior around Editor 2.0. So everything that Anna just showed, like when to use advanced grid and other things that we didn't show here, like the layers panel, for example, and how to use the layer panel to help you design more easily and stuff like that. So you can first start with looking at, those lessons, and then, just use Editor 2.0, redesign one of your customer sites. I'm sure they will be very happy if you will give them a new, beautiful site.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think with all, new updates like this, there's going to be a learning curve. So, Anath, I'm curious to hear earlier on yourself as well. What do you think the two biggest differences are from Editor 1.0 to 2.0?
The flexibility, definitely. The fact that it's much more faster, like it's really faster to build, and the technology behind it, that it's just stronger, and you can feel it while you're building, and it allows you to create this kind of stuff. The fact that you can have different size of font across, like the breakpoint, allow you to have like big and bold title, like I did here, allows you to have like a very flexible design. That's what I would say.
Lyra,
Yeah,
how
I
about you?
think watching Anat building like first, I'll just add to what Anat said. We saw Anat building our year in review site on Editor 2.0 for the first time. It was like before we had a lot of features that you see right now. And she just finished building it, designing it, and she said like, wow, it took me less than half of the time that it took me every year. That she hated, this time of the year that we ask her to build this site. Sometimes it would take her forever with all the requests that we had, and she was super happy. So to see her, doing it, it was great. I think that I'm very excited about, what we can bring in the future. A lot of stuff that, to read all your requests and to say, okay, this might work. This will take us like a month to develop. And now everything is much more easy also for our developers. As I showed you, like when we take an approach like the smart layouts, for example. Now all the requests around design flexibility with complex widgets, it's something that we can deliver, we can give you. So it's very exciting to be able to, talk about mega menu, for example. And these are things that we can do now with the structure that we built. So yeah, and the team worked really hard to, move all the cool stuff. We talked about, learning curves, and we tried, if you look at the editor, it looks the same as the classic editor. We didn't change the design because we wanted it to look very familiar. We wanted you to find all the things that you are using, the SEO, the AI, the membership, e-com, pages, whatever. And we just wanted to improve it, to improve the core, to improve the, basic options that you have when you come to the canvas. So I think it also helped people to adjust to the new editor.
Yeah, and I would definitely agree with that, because a lot of designs are traditional, and I think when you can make it flexible and you can put big headlines and buttons and overlap different elements, you stand out, and that's what it's all about with internet marketing. There's another question about advanced grid, and I think that's the one thing that you presented that I think really struck out to the audience as well. Noro Fairley asks, how do you create an advanced grid, or is it automatic?
Oh, so I'm going to show you this again. Sorry. So advanced grid is like a widget that you drag and drop. So I'm going to do it again in here. So I want to have an advanced grid inside of this column. It needs to be inside of a column. So I'm just going to click plus and drag and drop, or just click, and the advanced grid is here. I could also say my advanced grid will be on a column, one column, and create more things if I want. So maybe, I don't know, I want to create something like cards. Yeah. So I'm gonna, this, whoa, it's big. Okay, and some corner radius. Okay. Now I'm gonna duplicate this one. Yeah. And duplicate it again. Okay. I'm gonna make sure that this one, since I can align stuff like this and like this, and I'm gonna make sure that this will come first. And then I'm going to be able to replace my images with other images. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's very nice. Ryan Stack asks, I think I know the answer to this, but I want to confirm.
Mhm.
Let's say you wanted to add a circle as a background shape that overlaps the sections. Is that possible with shapes too?
If I want to add what? Sorry, can you repeat?
Like a circle, like
Yeah.
a circle or a square or a triangle or a shape
Here?
overlapping one of these images. Yeah, just
Oh,
like that.
over.
But that's a
Okay.
picture.
So I can just go and, in my advanced grid, and we can add either a shape. If it's a circle, I can also add an inner column, sorry, that I'm going to place here. Okay, I'm going to make sure that it's a square. So I'm going to give it like a size in pixel that will be, I don't know, 200 and 200. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a color and corner radius. And then I'm going to overlap it. Yeah. Like
Very
this.
cool.
Yeah. Or like
Now,
this.
can that go overlap the section itself? So can the orange circle, Ryan's next question follow-up is, can the orange circle overlap the two sections from the light pink to the darker maroon?
Here?
Yes.
Yes. So if I want to do that, so the thing that I need to do here is removing my spacing in here, okay? And then having a spacing inside of my advanced grid instead of here. So I'm going to go to the spacing and have my 4%. And then I need, in order for it to work, I need to make sure that a part of my element is inside of the advanced grid.
Mm.
And then it can overlap the two sections. Does it answer the question?
It does. That's really great. And how does that affect the breakpoint, Ana?
So now if we move breakpoint, this is how it looks like. So we can, for example, decide, can put this back in here, make this smaller. Okay, so 150 maybe. All right, and replace it again. Okay, maybe it's not perfect, but yeah, like this. Won't impact this here. And for here, I just, because this is why you have to use it wisely, and sometimes we want to use like alignment, especially for text. So here I just need now maybe to move a little bit my images and to place this back.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. And when you go to desktop, it's still the previous.
It's still the same. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I mean, I think, yeah, I would agree. This is extremely fun, and I'm going to play with this all weekend. But what are your top pieces of advice when it comes to editing through the breakpoints? Because I think for most people, maybe that's just myself, the breakpoints is where we need the most amount of recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
I think the advanced section was one of them, or the advanced grid. What would you say your best pieces of advice is going through the actual breakpoints?
So when you go to breakpoint, you need to make sure that everything is like visible, not too tight. And for example, here, if I would have respected this section exactly as it is, it would have been like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not good. This is not what we want.
No,
So
definitely
here,
not.
here we need to make sure that we change the position to vertical. Okay, and then when I move here to mobile, I could have leave this like this, 2 buttons. Wait a second, I'm just going to make this smaller. Okay, I could have leave it like that, but it still doesn't look good. I want my button to pop out, to stand out. So I'm going to make it like this. Okay, so these are the small tips for the breakpoint. Make sure that everything is visible, that your elements are visible, that not everything is like very tight and crowded. You need space, and you need, sorry, they turn off the light, and that everything will be aligned correctly and visible. And for example, also, this text could have looked very nice aligned left, but maybe on mobile, this text needs to be aligned center. So it's like it creates an consistent and harmony with the rest. Also the title, it looked like this, but on mobile, you know that it's better if everything is aligned center. Sometimes, not always, but
All right.
kind of tips.
All right. Well, I'm sure there's so much more you can give us enough. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks, Liran, for your time. If you're here, do not leave. We're going to be talking about e-commerce in our next Duda session on day 3 of Dudacon.
Thank you.
Thank you.